how you know I haven't recorded in a while. I forgot to turn my mic on, alright? So the purpose of today's video is getting back in touch with you guys about what's been going on. So I recently just went through my cut. My goal was from 188 to 185-ish to 160. Last year I did get down to 165, so let's look and see what I came in at this morning, alright? It's all at 0, and here goes nothing. 160 even. So it was a long felt journey. It was a combination of me decreasing my calories from about 3,000 to roughly 15 to 12. Towards the end, it did get a little hard, but you have to power through and keep on pushing and trust the process of whatever you're doing to try to get down to whatever your goal weight is. But now that that is done, you know what time it is if you watch me often or you stay up on my Instagram, alright? So, let's get down to business and let's go celebrate.
I almost forgot to show you, but check these donuts out. And voila, look at that. You're probably thinking like, damn, fat ass, you're gonna eat all 12 of those? No, sharing is caring. So I'm gonna eat my couple, and then I'm gonna give the rest away. All right, so I will link back up with you guys when I get home.
Alright everyone, so I'm gonna wrap this up. My last donut is a sea salt caramel. And you know it's good. But I want to give you guys, excuse me, wait up. I apologize. But my roadmap to success per se in my cut. So I went from 185, 188 to 160. So roughly about 20, 25 pounds, okay? 25, 28 pounds when I get technical. But when you're starting out, it's the easiest, right? But the end is where it gets tough. So in the beginning, when you slowly start to cut down in weight, a lot of it's water weight, and that's the quote unquote easy part. But once your water doesn't drop off as easy, then you gotta get to your fat stores, and you're gonna lose a little bit of your muscle mass. And it can get tough as you slowly decrease. So for myself, I did a caloric deficit, which means each week I cut back on my calories, and then I also adjusted my macros. So some people like to do calories in, calories out, simplest way possible. Some people like to do macros. So I'm gonna have this much protein, this much carb, this much fat, and then take away from each of those each week, right? Or you can do both. But some people that's too complicated, so you gotta make it as simple as possible or you're gonna hate life. But what I mean by the ending being the hardest, so for instance, I'd say 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine purchased a new vehicle. I was happy for him, so I was like, you know what, let's go celebrate. And a lot of people say, oh, you can't go out while you're cutting, and it's one or two things. It's really all up to you as an individual and how you're going to either one, not put yourself in that predicament, or two, still enjoy yourself, or three, you're going to do it but be smart about it. So this is what happened for me. So we go to Olive Garden, and of course there's a healthy option and there's unhealthy options. So I was in a pickle. I usually get the tour of Italy, right? There was shrimp scampi, or there was salmon and broccoli. Salmon and broccoli was about 500 calories. Shrimp scampi was about 550 maybe because of the sauce. And the tour of Italy was about 1,000 to 1,200 calories, right? Now, keep in mind, I'm at about 165. I got 5 pounds to go to my goal of 160, right? And yes, you guessed it. I did the tour of Italy. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Just gonna go with it. I know what I'm doing. I just have to work harder. So that made me prolong another week of the gruesome cut, per se, right? But not only that, so that was one instance, and then Memorial Day. So I didn't do too bad. It was a lot of protein, but still I had some kebabs, I had a couple burgers, no bunless burger, so I was still kind of good about that, and some corn, and I think maybe a beer, right? So as you get closer to it, right, and there's those intervening factors that they want to go out, or something comes up and you're like, ooh, basketball game. Are you gonna go to the bar and get some burgers and beer? Or are you gonna get pizza and wings, right? It's up to you to know, okay, if I do this, the consequence is not only are you setting yourself back, but you have to work that much harder. Or you're like, hey, you know what? If they're supporting that and they're like, you know what, you're right, you are doing that, stay. But you don't wanna be that guy to where you're like taking it too serious to where you can't even live life. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna take it that serious to a degree, which means I ate the tour of Italy, right? Being a pretty big fat ass. However, I worked it off, as you see here now. We're at 160. So, moral of the story is stick to your cut, whichever way you're going to decide to go, whether that be caloric deficit, which you're going to cut your calories each week, your macros, similar to cutting your calories, but you're being more precise about what type of food you're cutting out. Now the fad diets, it's totally up to you. I don't knock them until you try them. At least you've attempted it, so you know if your body conforms to that. But the only thing with fad diets is you can have the balloon effect. So let's say, for instance, keto. It is success stories out the ass, right? But for some people, putting on a lot of fat may not be the best option for you, right? You may lose that weight in the, how can I say? You can lose it real fast, but how long can you keep it off? So if you look at the end goal of weight loss, not in my instance because I'm cutting and I'm bulking back and forth, right? But for an average person that you're trying to lose weight, it's how long you keep it off, not how fast you get it off. Do you see where I'm going? So it's totally up to you and whatever your journey is, but I just want to I want to give you my advice on that. And also another thing, which I didn't notice I was technically doing to the end. So like I said, I started off with the caloric deficit, watching my macros, and then I slowly took off a meal. So I went from 5 meals to 4 meals to 3 meals, and I actually found myself doing intermittent fasting these last 4 weeks. And if you aren't familiar with intermittent fasting, you have an 8-hour window of where you eat all of your meals for the day, and then outside of that, you don't have anything else for the rest of the day. So I found myself doing that these last few weeks, not even thinking about it. I'm just like, okay, I stopped eating, but I mean, excuse me, I knew I had to stop because that was my last meal, but it was a little bit of intermittent fasting. So that's it. I'm gonna finish this beautiful donut. Thank you guys all for always tuning in. You will be seeing me in the next few days. Have a good one.